you, a little place of relief in the middle of the desert there.
I like the Spotted Lake, which is closer to like Vernon side.
Oh, nice.
Do you
Oh,
know?
the Infinity
Do
Sea
you
is
do you
amazing.
know what I'm talking about? Is that what it's called? It has all those like ridiculous. What are they formations? I need to pull this up at some
Rock
point.
formations.
I'm totally sidetracking. It's like 2 minutes in, and I'm like, let's look at science phenomena.
I don't know what you're talking about off the top of my head, but I believe you.
Look up the spot. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna Google it. I mean, what? Just because I have to. Maybe it'll be art, like an art cover. Yeah, it's called Spotted Lake,
Okay.
outside of Soyuz.
Okay. Hell
It,
yeah.
it looks like an
Okay.
alien. A bunch of aliens landed on a
That's
lake.
fucking nice.
What have you been doing up there? In Van?
Um, I mean, I came up. I had to quarantine for 2 weeks. The Canadian government, when I crossed the border into Canada, they were like, at the place where you hand your passport, they're like, "Are you aware that if you do not quarantine for 2 weeks, you could be fined up to $1 million
Whoa!
or sentenced to 3 years in prison?"
Wow!
Yeah, and I was like, "Okay, I will be keeping my quarantine." So
How did
yeah,
they?
I
Did they
had like
say?
a just total lockdown. I what's that?
I think we just had to drop out for a second, but you're back. Did they? Did you say that they were like checking up? First off, that's kind of wild because it's definitely not happening here, but certain countries are. I guess Canada's pretty good about it.
Yeah,
Did,
they're like protective of how well they've kind of been able to keep it at bay.
did you have to check in with someone?
I didn't, but I
Okay.
heard that sometimes they will call you or maybe check up.
Right.
And with, yeah, like, $1 million or like prison time, I was like, I'm good. I'm just gonna stay here. I'm just gonna
Right.
stay in this apartment,
They're like lurking your IG stories and stuff.
right?
Like that's not
I don't
true.
know, like, fuck, I didn't want to play with it.
You gotta like save a bunch if you saved a bunch in advance and just like selfies like at home like in bed and just post them periodically every day and like
Exactly.
not let anyone tag you. There was a I don't know if you heard. I mean, this is totally random, but there was a guy because the NBA came back in the middle of their playoffs and it was like a big not controversy. They've done it really well, but they were like you have to stay in this bubble in Disney World,
Hmm.
and then a player went to got tagged by like a friend of his who's like a rapper in a really famous Atlanta strip club, and that became like like a whole thing.
Oh
And he
my
was like,
god.
"No, I went for their wings because it's also really well known for their food, like legit, like Atlanta
Okay, okay, okay.
strip clubs." And then of course that became a huge thing.
Oh my gosh.
what would
Yeah,
be what would
you
be the
never know
thing
how
you
it's
would?
gonna get out.
No, you don't know. Lemon pepper wings, which is just like
Oh,
I,
the wing.
are you eating? Um,
Meat.
No, you're not eating meat.
Actually, I went camping with my friends while I was here. K-Pop and Ashley Eamon, a
Hmm.
couple amazing Vancouver vocalists.
Uh-huh.
Shout out to them. Um, but yeah, on the first night that we were there, Ty K-Pop breaks out all these chicken wings and then cooks them on the fire, and I was just it was
Okay.
so good. So in moments like those, I call myself a flex vegan.
Yeah, I like that.
You just play it by ear, you know, just suss out the mood. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna eat this chicken. It was so good.
Was that the first time in a while
Um, I don't know. I
eating
guess
like a
so. Yeah.
like I'm just thinking of
Yeah.
I think meat I could give up like pretty readily. Chicken, I mean, it would be a little tougher, but I wonder if it hits different after like a few months or like a year off. I hear people say that they can't handle anymore, or they're
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
I don't know. I think I was like so hungry, and we were actually on Harrison Lake that time we were camping, and it
Mm,
was just like middle of nowhere, pristine. We literally passed out on the beach under the stars. It was like one of the hottest nights of the summer,
yo, that sounds
early August. Oh god, so nice. So I don't know. The chicken just felt like I needed the sustenance.
right, right. Probably that like organic,
It
like
was organic too. Yeah.
yeah, free range, like homeschool type chicken, right? Self actualize and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and
So you've been up in Van for a little bit, but you're back in LA. Did you
next
move?
week.
I feel like you moved. Yeah, I guess you're coming back into the madness. Um, can you talk about your path from Van to LA as a singer, songwriter, artist,
Only
all that
screenwriter.
stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I love Vancouver. It's gorgeous here. It's a great incubation space for artists. Um, but I think there came a point when I was kind of doing like the circuit where I was singing at different clubs, different nights of the week, doing like weekly
Right.
things, and um, working with some amazing producers in town. Chin and Jetty and like Nate and you and
Hmm.
just kind of came a moment where I was like, I think I didn't really know like how much further there was to go. It kind of felt like there was a bit of a ceiling,
Right.
especially kind of for the type of music that I was doing, more R&B influenced rather than rock.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and so just like it's time for me to go, and I just started saying I'm going to move to LA. I just started repeating it. I didn't have a plan, and then I ended up, you know, like being with somebody who was from LA, so I spent a bunch of time down there, and
Mm.
then just kind of got into the scene, and I've just always been coming back. I've just always been coming back, and I finally got a visa this year, so I've been able to spend more time
Nice.
down there. Which is great, and I'm
Congrats.
working on my next visa right now, so yeah.
That's big in these times because they're just about to increase the fees by like a lot, like next month or
No
something.
doubt, eh? I
So
better hand it in.
yeah, no, you got to yeah. We're talking about that today. I mean, who knows how it's gonna go, but that's tight. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to some of those producers you were talking about, Chin and Jetty, who's he's got like multiple like award winning
Yeah,
Junos.
Grammys with Eminem, I think.
He's got Grammys with Eminem. Yeah, geez. And Nate, is that Nate from like Astrological
Astrological.
from Potato
Yeah.
Head People? Right, dope. Because I know we got some Potato Heads fans that walk through the chat. I gotta get Nikki Wiz on here as well
Hell
in
yeah.
these chats. Have you been able to have you been writing and like reconnecting with some of the music people up there while you've been up there?
Yeah, I've been like seeing some of the music people. I haven't actually done writing sessions with other people on this trip. I've been writing a lot myself and uh, starting to self-produce.
Dope.
But yeah, Potato Head People and I do have a track coming out soon, so that's exciting. We have
Oh,
another one coming out soon
sweet.
that we were working on last autumn. So
Oh, you gotta send me. Is that the stuff that you just flipped to me? The couple things that you emailed?
no, those are just self-produced. Those are just me.
Oh, sweet. Okay, I've totally I just downloaded them.
Oh, good.
Maybe we'll run them. Yeah, I'm gonna bump those. Let's turn back the clock for just a second because I was like looking at the videos, some of the stuff that we'd done around the original release of My Own Throne, which is I guess 4 years ago because it was July 2016 when that
Yeah.
dropped.
Yeah.
First off, like that seems 4 years. I mean, it seems like it seems like longer than 4 years somehow. Do
I
you know what I
know.
mean? You've lived several lives since then.
I really have actually.
You were here. You lived in Toronto,
Hmm.
and then Van. You're back. I've like, I don't know. I don't know where the time went. So, but anyways, so setting the stage. Do you remember like the events leading up to that? Like how we first connected and all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we both opened for Bond acts at Fortune,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
20.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then
exactly.
I think I'd seen your like heard about you and seen your name like because like you said you were performing a lot in Van and you had like a lot of weekly regular gigs like you were doing what 4 nights a week.
Yeah, it
That
was a
time?
lot at one point. It was like a whole lot.
Right. But you're also like probably in that mode of you could just like go and like like when you're running like every day or something too, right?
Yeah, it was just like go time. I was just trying to make money and just see how far I could push it in Vancouver. I was like, okay, what does this city have to offer? I'm from here. Like, let's give her. And then after a while, I was like, I think I've hit the ceiling.
It's a lot, right?
No, I love it here. I love it.
Well,
But
to be fair, that's a lot of
it's small. It's kind of small.
gigging for anyone if you're a musician. I mean, even here, if you're playing, that's a lot of work. And I think, do you think that type of sustained output, having to perform like basically like every night, what did you take away from that? Or did that really force you to like figure some things out?
Yeah. I mean, I think like it was like so much vocal practice. My voice got really strong because I was just like practicing. Sometimes like some of those gigs were 3 45-minute sets in a row, and I would just play with my voice the whole time and push it, and my range got bigger, my runs got better, and
Yeah.
so it was an important vocal development period, I think, for me.
That's tight because you have a really unique voice, and you have great delivery, and for anyone that hasn't been able to see you perform before, definitely go see Claire, because like it's that, well, from the first time from that show, the Bondax show, I was like, we linked up, and I was like, that was crazy. And then I think I'm not even sure how we started My Own Throne. Did you just come by the spot, the apartment, and then I had the Juno, or do you remember that part of it?
Yeah, I do. We were in your living room, the spot off of Main where there's like you walk through the kitchen and then there's the corner. We were like posted there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was just kind of like, da, 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 da. And then you were like, oh, yeah, that's cool, it's catchy, let's lay that down. So I put that in.
You just led with like the hook, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds about right.
Pretty much. Yeah. But I remember like I had been talking with this guy who had come through on a tour that I had opened for. It's actually SZA, someone in SZA's camp.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like kind of had this vibe thing. We were like talking, and then like he had this other girl, and she was like harassing me online and
shit. Oh shit. Okay.
It was like, yeah. So I was like, okay. I need to step back. So that's what the song was about. It was just like, I'm not gonna fall in love with you because you're clearly attached to this other person. And
wow.
So
I never knew that background of it.
Yeah.
I should. Now I feel like terrible that I never asked you.
Like, we talked about the day of, but
did we? Oh, right. Maybe you didn't mention like the SZA aspect, like the music industry link. So then, how did this other person like start sending you like DMs or something, or how did she find out about?
From all angles. Well, I think that like because she was also in SZA's band, so it's like these two people in SZA's band.
Oh, okay.
We'd all been kind of kicking it.
Close proximity. It wasn't like someone in another city.
Seen us like connect. She kind of like seen the connect, and then was just on alert, and like I guess he was talking about me or whatever, and
right.
She was like hitting me over Instagram, over Facebook, just like
right
everywhere that she could, just like, yeah, I've never been harassed online quite like that.
Oof.
Blessings to him. I hope that they're both doing well.
Right.
I'm still in touch with him a bit.
Right.
Lovely man. But yeah, pretty funny. So I was like, I'm just gonna let this situation just be what it is.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go
and get what you need and get inspiration for this. I mean, I'm sure we would have written other stuff when we have, but it's so interesting to think about what I'm thinking about, just all the stuff that must have been, what it must have felt at that time, and being like, that is often fuel for the songwriting process, right? As
honestly,
like, have you heard like a top liner? Other songwriters have told me before, like, oh, I've been like in a happy like relationship for a long time, and I have to go and put myself in this other place because like no one's really trying to hear like a whole record about like how great your life is or whatever.
Yeah, like Bieber's last record where it's just like all love songs. I think it's cute. I mean, I think it's nice. But I know I get a lot of inspo from angst. Like, oh my gosh, it just is that way because you have too much pain inside you, and so you need to just like vomit it out into sound waves. Like that's what it's like for me, you know.
How do you sort of begin your songwriting process? Do you have, because I've seen your notebooks, do you sort of just have different themes, or do the melodies kind of go together at the same time when you're writing these things down?
Yeah, I think usually I will kind of jot down what's like most pressing emotionally or what's most on my mind. I might write kind of some lyrics or some poetry about it, get some imagery in there, like make some metaphors or comparisons, and then I'll just approach the microphone and freestyle a melody that might include some of the themes that I was like jotting down.
Mm-hmm.
So the freestyle ends up being kind of like on theme with what I want the song to be about lyrically, but it gives enough like space where the melody can come through intuitively, and then I'll like plug in the lyrics more articulately after that.
So sort of like theme towards the melody, and then like kind of tweaking lyrics and the syllables and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And so you've been, making music for. Well, when did you start making music, anyways?
I think I wrote my first song when I was 14. I'm 27 now, so
Okay, so like you've been doing it for a while.
13 years, yeah.
And did you like start off with vocal training, or what was your sort of music education?
Yeah, I mean, I have like, you know, a family of singers.
Mm-hmm.
Like my extended family, they're on one side, they all sing. So it was always just in the family. And then from the time, my parents have stories about me, I was like a toddler, just like walking up on stages at like the folk fest and grabbing for the microphone. And
Right.
I was always doing like plays at school and musicals. And then I started performing just like me and my piano, doing little piano ballads when I was maybe 16 around Vancouver, and then Victoria when I went to school at UVic, and then linking up with like Astrological and Nick Wisdom, Hero, the Fantastic crew, Jellyfish Recordings, kind of every Chapel Sound crew, and yeah, started making music with them, and the rest is history. I mean, I think that was like, I released my album Medicines in 2017, which is mostly with Astrological, and
Mm-hmm.
you got We Have True Power on there, and
Great
some
record.
Shenanigans. Thank you. But it was really in the past like 2 or 3 years that I really got back into like writing a lot more, and which has been so awesome. And yeah, so just kind of releasing those songs and continuing to write, and now producing for myself. There's a whole different side coming through. Like I don't listen much to Bjork, but I've had a couple of people say that the stuff I'm making now is kind of like Bjork. So yeah, I'm just here for it. I'm here to just see what keeps coming out.
That's
Coming out of me.
that's exciting. I can't wait to hear it. How would you say that? Oh, okay, that sounds like a bit of a an evolution from, let's say, the stuff with Nate, like Panther Paws and things like that. Like I love that stuff, and
Thank you.
it's interesting to hear how, I mean, I think any artist, after putting out a few records, especially like an album, you go like, well, what is next, or where do you, not necessarily changing for the sake of changing, but maybe because you feel like you've written these songs, you've said what you had to say in this context, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you continue to live your life as you have, like living in different places and meeting different people, making new friends and all that. I do find that your melodies have always been like interesting melodies. I kind of was curious if that was like, clearly you've been around a lot of thanks for the follow, Corey, a lot of musical people, but when it comes to piano and keys, was that also sort of self-taught, or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, I took piano lessons as like a little baby,
Right.
but it didn't really like stick. But yeah, I just started needing to write. There was a piano in my basement when I was in high school, and like before I had a laptop, before there was any social media and stuff like that, I would borrow my sister's my sister's laptop, and I'd go down and record these piano songs in her garage band. And it was just super simple. A lot of them, like most of them, were in C major,
Hmm.
and they just kind of started just pouring out of me.
I love it.
Yeah,
How did
yeah.
you? I remember when you showed me the initial demo. I think we were in an Uber going to your show in East Hollywood, in like the back room there. Maybe I think I'm not sure. We might have been with Chris Fabich at the time, or I'm combining two different times. But
Oh, the maybe at the show at the Virgil.
maybe it was the Virgil. Yeah, it was like at the edge of East Hollywood. I hadn't been over there. I was like, oh, this is like the edge of Hollywood.
Yeah, it totally. It's like the
I was
edge
like,
of it.
this is not near anything that I know.
Because you're more West Side.
Yeah, West. I mean, that's me. I mean, I'm moving east. I'm in Culver now.
East,
Every
move
year,
east.
move east.
East
It's.
is better.
I know, right? It's been all right. But anyways, you showed me the demo for "Love Is Not Enough," and it was just like an
Mm.
early demo, and I was like, "Yo, this kind of bangs." This is the song with Miami Horror that I'm talking about. And if you don't know it, definitely go check that out as well. How did that song come about?
Yeah, well, I was living in Toronto, and they hit me up and they said, we're working on an album. Would you want to come down to LA and work on writing something with us? And at the time, I hadn't been back to LA since my divorce from Xavier, who's from LA. So I hadn't even been back like independently. And my manager at the time, was he had lots of air miles points and shit, so he would like buy my flights, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." Um, and I remember my assistant manager. Yeah, it was just such like a little era there in Toronto, like grinding in Toronto, getting to know the scene there, and then having the opportunity to go down to LA to write. And my assistant manager, Michael, was like, "Yeah, like if you're gonna go down to write with Miami, like make a writing trip of it." And we just set up this itinerary, and I hit up all the producers that I knew in LA and all the different connections, and I just packed 2 or 3 weeks with sessions, like one or two a day, and it was like the start of me writing again and like finding who I was after like such a tumultuous and painful, but also like enlightening, relationship and marriage. Um,
Right.
yeah. So went back down to LA on my own terms, and met up with Ben and the Miami Horror Crew, and they have a whole house to themselves over in Silver Lake, and it's like a super hot day, and they had already started writing that song, and so I just kind of hopped on, and we just vibed on it, and um, they kind of did lots of different stuff, like different pieces with it, brought in different writers, different players, and yeah, that's we now have the final product. So
It's a banger. That's
thanks, eh?
yeah. So you've done like a few. You've done quite a few collabs, including one with our buddy Chris for Beach, which that came out this year or last year. Like the years are all
Is
blending
it
together.
pronounced Fabich?
Fabit.
I say Fabich. Am I wrong?
I think. Uh,
I feel like you would know better because you introduced me to him at that session.
yeah. No, I mean, I'm thinking about it now because he's German. It should be like a hard ch, right? But I don't know if anyone's trying to like have that vibe, like Fabik.
Bobby,
You listening to
better.
yeah. If I don't know if he's like if he's on the call. He's been on these chats. I think it's interpretive. It's however you wanna vibe with it.
I love it.
Do you do most of your collabs in the room? Do you prefer like a really bare bones idea, or or are you open to like whatever? Do you do remote stuff?
Yeah, I prefer being in the room with people. Um, I think my favorite way to come into a session is probably like we'll kick it for maybe like an hour and like catch up and show each other what we've been listening to, maybe what we've been working on. Um, and then if there's like a beat or a song that someone's been working on that feels like, yeah, I want to get on this. Like I feel like in the moment, like inspired, and I can already hear things coming through in my head, then I'll just go with that. Sometimes it's nice to make something from the ground up with somebody too, depending on how fast they work. I really like being able to get my ideas down right away so that they can just flow. Oh, hi, baby.
Cam-
Look who it is.
cameo. Obi, what do
Oh,
you want?
I miss Obi.
Come here. Come here.
Okay.
Come. Come
Oh
here.
my god. What a cute pooch.
Hey, say, come
No, baby. It's the big baby.
on. Yes, here, look. Hello. There he is. his
Hello.
Fat face.
Speak to the microphone, Obi.
What do you have to say?
Yes, good baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he always needs to be the center of attention.
No.
He's loving quarantine because everyone's
I
here.
bet he is.
You gotta come by when you get back and get your
Yeah,
pets in. He's getting
I
old.
would.
Um,
He cuddles with Obi.
he's just gonna do his thing. What do you want? Use your words. What?
Use your words, baby.
Don't use your words.
Oh,
Um, right. Yeah. No. I feel you on. We talk about. It's never a stream, not a stream without an OB guest audio. No kidding. We talk about the sessions a little bit, and I think it's great to hear about the different processes on both sides, and because for one, everyone likes to work in different ways. Two, in these times, there's obvious limitations. I've been starting to get on the Zoom session a little bit more, and
Yeah, no.
and it's cool. Oh, he's just gonna. Yeah,
Oh, it's just gonna sit. Oh,
this-
there you go.
Hang on. You can. I'll move this so we can get a little. Can I do it? Oh, there.
Oh,
He just
yeah.
puts his head.
Oh yeah.
That's his favorite spot.
Okay,
If I'm sitting there and I get up for like some water or something, he'll just jack it. No remorse. um,
Jack.
but yeah, with that, like it's interesting to see the evolution of. With technology, for example, like you can, if I can play you a beat like immediately, you can just track. But I enjoy being in the room. Some people, and I don't know if you've done this, if people have asked you for top lines, and you send over like an a cappella or, like an early demo, and then they kind of like remix it. Is that something that you've, or has it gone the other way for you, where people have just sent you full beats, or is that like how do you find that?
Yeah, I think like a couple. Yeah, I've been asked like a handful of times for top lines like that.
Mhm.
Especially kind of like it's more like through my manager for like
Right.
someone else. It's not my favorite way to work. I think because usually like the top lines that I have will already be integrated a certain amount with whatever the beat is.
Right.
And also, I think usually I don't really like perfect the actual recording of the top line
Right.
until it's like, yes, this song feels like integrated and rounded out, just in terms of like the mixing of the vocal and the pitch and all the timing and the specifics of like a really crisp top line recording. I usually don't have like a crispy product to send out to someone right away.
I feel what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's.
But we can, like, if it's someone who I have like rapport with and they're a friend, then we can like work with it from there. But if it's like more kind of on a professional tip, then I don't always have like the crispiest top lines.
Right. No, I mean I feel the same way about my beats anyways, like most of the time. So it's kind of, goes around.
Yeah.
We did work on something remotely, I think over Skype once. I'm just remembering like I was in Japan, and we were like I think I was just in the hotel room, and we were just like singing stuff back and forth. Although I don't think that came out, but it's different when you've worked with someone, when you know someone, then you can just be like sending voice notes, or it's not like a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Who have you been, or what have you been listening to lately this year?
Tiana Taylor. Definitely been listening to that album. I mean, at the top of the year / at the end of last year, Sir. I just think that the album was so amazing. So I like still come back to that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What have I been listening
I
to?
know the producer that worked on most. I don't know how much. Most of that. The one with Kanye for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah, I should link you guys. He's a beast. He's a beast. His name is Johan, Johan. He does like these big string arrangements and stuff. I think,
Oh,
yeah, that kind of comes naturally to him.
oh,
Yeah, he makes great records.
love it. Love it so much. I've been pulling so many orchestral and string samples from Slice since I started producing, like,
Mm,
and flutes and I love like live orchestral instrumentation.
right?
So
There
yeah, that's
is so there's this cool free orchestra. Spitfire is sort of. I mean, we can talk for days about. Let's nerd out because that's what we do here. I mean, um, Spitfire makes these awesome orchestras that are often used for film and TV, and then they
mm,
did like a stripped down one through the BBC. I mean, it still sounds amazing, and I think normally it's like whatever $30-50. But if you just fill out a survey and then waited a couple weeks, then they just mail it. It's so funny. It's like we'll mail it to you in a couple weeks if you don't mind, and then it's free. So you're like, all right, you fill out like a 1-page questionnaire, um, and yeah. So check that out, the Spitfire Orchestra, and then you can like select. Just the interface of the app is cool, and it can go in your DAW. But what?
amazing.
Yeah, what are you searching like on Splice? What are you fucking with?
Um, I mean, it depends on the day. It honestly depends on the day, what my mood is. But I think that's one that like I've noticed is recurring is like I'll just look for um, string arrangements. Like I'm not as much into like the solos for
Mm-hmm.
strings or for violins,
Right.
solos as much, but like an arrangement for me, like oh, there's just so much that you can do with that, and it just feels already gives so much life
Yeah.
to the composition.
Right.
Flutes, I like more flute solos, and then always like I'm still quite new to drum programming and
Mm-hmm.
really like making drums that hit super hard from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So like finding a really nice like down tempo kind of trap R&B
Mm-hmm.
um, drum loop, or at least like a few that I can stack together.
Mm-hmm.
Like I find myself hunting for those often. Um, or like a nice kind of like lo-fi, kind of like hip hop shuffle, dusty
Mm-hmm.
kind of drum vibe.
I love
But
it.
sometimes I'll yeah find stuff that's a little bit more kind of house and yeah. I remember I came across your beat pack one day. I was like scrolling, and then I saw this nice like pink. I just like the aesthetic. I was like, oh, what's this nice pink thing? I was like, oh yeah, I like this. So I downloaded it, and then only when it was in Logic, I was like, Pat Block. I was like, okay, sick. This sounds dope, buddy.
That's crazy. I didn't realize. Oh no, that's right. You tagged me on Instagram. I was
It's
like,
been on my story, yeah.
dope. Yo, did I send it? If I haven't sent it, I gotta send you both of those. That's cool though. I
Yeah.
I think that it really does open up a world of possibilities, and from your side of things, because it's like fresh and new. Like you don't maybe have all the like I've got these whatever a few years now of like routine habits where I'm like I do this and then I do this and then it has to go, and sometimes I wish I could just turn that off and start like fresh, because then anything is you're breaking those rules or anything is possible. And I think that now, because you have an idea, you type it in, and obviously your musical knowledge is vast, and so you can quickly put together you can put some drums that like really slap, like a like a trap loop or pattern with some of these strings, and put it together in a different way that works for you, which you can freak and end up over here, which is kind of
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly.
This is all just an ad for Splice.
Pretty much. Yeah, and then my good friend and the producer of Prophecy of the Morning Dew and song Bad Love, which are both out now. My buddy Teddy Rockspin, he'll kind of like mentor me on Logic.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get on the phone every once in a while, and I'll have a whole list of like questions, and so he's like, yeah, he's killing it in that regard too. So it's helping my like Logic knowledge
Mm-hmm.
improve,
Mm-hmm.
and and just integrate things and play with different things. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, oh, it's just so satisfying. I've always known that I was going to produce one day and wanted to, just so I can express my ideas more articulately. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, over quarantine, I was just like, fuck, I miss having sessions so much. There weren't enough like beats coming in
Yeah.
from my friends and, different producers to like satisfy my need to write. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I just started, and Splice makes it so much easier. Whereas, 4 years ago when I was thinking about producing, it's just different. We didn't have those options in the same way.
Right.
At least they're in the same way. So
And what better time than to learn something new? I think in these uncertain months, it's sort of like a perfect time to push yourself and like expand your game, or and clearly for you, it's something that will accelerate, because even if we're working together now, can draw on these very specific ideas. Yeah, are there any people on Logic in the chat? I wonder. Disclosure has been doing these incredible deep dives on their sessions, and they're all Logic still. So I think they're on YouTube. Check them out. They've broken down most of the new record. They did like a deep dive on the single with Khalid, the Can We Talk, because they produced that. And it's just like they'll put together these little chains, and so go, like, I would recommend like steal it, to bring in the notepad and just like timestamp and just go on YouTube and like hit up those Disclosure streams, because those guys are like production wizards.
up to that, yeah,
I see, right?
honestly. I still need to take in the new record. I think I've only heard like one song, the one with Sid and Kalani, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is fucking sick.
I've honestly been avoiding it because
Have you?
I've been writing. I've heard like a few of the songs, like the ones that were out before, and that one, but I'm sort of in this writing mode lately where I'm like, I just want to knock all these projects, either get like these new ideas to 80% or 90%, or get these like half done ideas towards the end. And I'm really wary of like having outside influences, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Do you like do that where you'll kind of go, not radio silent, but you'll kind of shut yourself off because you're like in a pattern, or you're like trying to execute a concept or a vision?
I don't think I do that consciously, but there's not tons of music that I like listen to all the time. I've actually been listening to a lot of disco. Yeah. So
Talk to me. Who? What are the cuts that you're on?
Just like all the old like Sister Sledge and like just the old school, the shit that my dad used to play growing up. I'll just put on a playlist and just like vibe to it, and I think it like puts me in a good mood. It gets me energized, it gets me dancing. So I love it for that. But I haven't even been listening to. I haven't been spending much time listening to music lately. Yeah, not in the last little bit, and I think it's been nice. Yeah, like while I've been in this mode of like producing tons, and my mic right now, like I just got a new mic, which is amazing, but the cord is broken now, so I've kind of taken a pause in the last week, whereas I was kind of like making a song a day for like a month for a while there. So yeah, it's just been nice to see like whatever presents itself,
Right.
and not needing it to be a certain genre or sound a certain way. Yeah, just making music for the sake of making music and letting myself express, to like have this like time capsule
Right.
of like where I'm at in my life right now.
So maybe less worrying about like if this is gonna be the sound for the next clear like EP, and just like taking the seed of an idea and like writing and kind of fleshing that out and going, cool, this is music for music's sake for now, at least.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm thinking like I'm sitting on a couple EPs that I have with different production teams, and I'm a whole bunch of just other singles, and so there's not this sense of like urgency, like I don't have material that's kind of
You got stuff.
ready.
Yeah.
So it gives me space to just add to the catalog, and
Yeah.
they'll probably sit on a hard drive and that's okay. And some of them might get picked through one day and like turn into something that other people can enjoy. And
Right.
yeah,
I like it. Having music ready to go is definitely one of those nice places to be as an artist. I mean, I think for a lot of us, it's like kind of hammering. It's always chasing, like the deadline, or chasing, like, the ball. And you're like, I have to finish the next single, or the next two singles, or we have, a remix if for DJs and stuff. But if you're like, cool, this is a body of work, and you're like, we can put it out, and then you have a plan. It's just sort of like being organized and well prepared, right?
yeah. I try to be well prepared, definitely. And I think like it's just this year has put so much up in the air,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like what, my manager and I were planning off the top of the year. It's very different than what we thought it was going to be, but just rolling with the punches and
Right.
just letting, different, yeah, like things emerge that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have this pandemic. So,
I mean, you did get to do. You mentioned on our test call that you did a show up in Van. What was that like? What are
it was,
shows like?
it was the, I was just up for the courses on the track with Aero Energies produced by Astro that we made it like 7 years ago. But just getting to be on stage and vibe and see the audience, and even just being at a live show, getting to take him in, and Georgie Holiday, another Vancouver artist, getting to take them in, and
Mm-hmm.
just like vibing and being able to look across the room and see people I recognize vibing to the same live music, and like that under the stars, like we were outside. It was just
It was
priceless.
it was outdoors. I missed
It was,
that. You cut out for a sec.
yeah, it was outside.
Okay, right. It's safety first. Um.
Yeah, Vancouver Mural Festival. So it was at 6th and Main.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that where they have that amazing? They repainted the side of that motel, that like super gross motel from like the 50s.
Whoa.
That's a little. That's like Fifth. Uh, it's called Empress or Empire. There's like a weird. Anyways, next time we're through there, that one has like the best mural.
It's right in that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were people like also like appropriately just ready to like go for this? Because I don't imagine there's been a lot of stuff up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the whole team that put the festival together were like they really put a lot of work in to make it happen, and collabed with the city on it, of course. And yeah, it was like, everyone was social distance. There's cute little like pods, tables, and there weren't too many people there. Like it sold out, a lot quicker than I expected. But then once I arrived, I was like, okay, I understand, because there's just not a lot of space, you know.
Right.
But it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Lots of plants and lush, decoration on the stage, and it was just nice to be around people, see people who I've known. I love that about coming back to Vancouver, is being like, wow, I've known you for like a decade,
Right.
plus, and we have lots of history. So
It's interesting to think about how, because uh you're a performer. Like you are. I was going to say you're a born performer. I mean, it sounds like you were getting on stages, at an early age, and that doesn't surprise me at all, because from the first time that we met, and we've done shows in a lot of different, or a few different places at least, like Electric Zoo in New York, and Splash House, and with like kind of big production and little production. We did the YouTube space, the live thing, and I'm curious, like how. So in that sort of format, like, does it make you think a little bit more about how your live show might evolve with these new sorts of rules?
yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I don't know. Like, we'll see what it's like when there's more live shows to be had. I think being over the internet, like I've done some live performances and some recorded ones that then get streamed at events, and I actually have an event coming up on the 27th where there's this project called the Boo Book in Toronto that I've been involved in a bit, and it's just like about chest freedom and healing from chest trauma for people who have breasts. And there's like a photographer and different installations and live poetry on typewriters, and
Sick.
so we've collabed on some events before, and so I'm going to be streaming in live to just perform whatever there.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, yeah, that's going to be fun. I like doing performances that where there's space for me to be intuitive, and like I've done energy work and Reiki on stage, and worked with crystals and done different just like channeling. And I think that music is channeling, and I mean every moment is arguably, but getting to come with that intention on stage is really refreshing for me. And just getting to express like wherever I'm at in my relationship with my body too. Like I was doing chest freedom stuff for a while where I would perform with my chest bare, and just like getting to have a commentary about what that felt like for me, and really getting to have like my heart space where I channel a lot of Reiki from without fabric over it, and that feeling different than needing to hide. And like as my journey is evolving with my transness and now preparing to get top surgery, it's just interesting seeing looking back and seeing kind of the journey, how it's been evolving. And
Absolutely.
I think getting to perform in ways that are unconventional has like just been freeing for me. It's helped like give me space to be myself. So I'm sure that like my live performances will keep evolving, and I can't wait until we have more regular shows, because like there's just something about being in a space with an audience that's just, you can never replicate that. So I can't wait.
I can't wait to see where they go. The last time, I think it was the last time we hung out, was at that really cool pop-up show in the house that your friends
the
did.
Ardmore.
What was it? Ardmore again?
Ardmore, yeah,
Ardmore.
in Silver Lake, yeah.
Yeah, that was, so for those well, I guess for those that weren't there, probably a lot of people in the chat. Yeah, it was like four artists or four other artists, five other artists, and it was just in a house, not a large place. But and then people had full like live bands, right? You had three maybe musicians backing you up, I think.
Yeah, it was like that was kind of like the house band, and the bassist lives at that house.
Right.
Yeah.
That
And
was a
it's
vibe though, because everyone just went up and did their own thing.
just- yeah.
20, 30 people in the room, and I don't know. It wasn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of that. That is one of the things about LA that is amazing, when you can find people doing cool stuff and coming together, and like everyone there was really chill and just there to support. Right, it wasn't like a scene.
Yeah.
So
We were planning on to have that be like a monthly thing with different artists coming through, but that was right when the pandemic was kind of just before it started hitting over here. So
Right. So I was glad that first one went down. You guys
me
got to
too.
do that first one, and then I guess we'll see if. So there's some interesting. I guess it's by city. I have a friend that does a lot of shows in Denver, works a lot of clubs and venues, and he's sort of like the force behind all of this like live electronic music in Denver, and he's sort of not getting around, but working with the city bylaws to include more art, because I think they're like anti DJ, for example, right? And you just call as it always has been, with raves going way back to the beginning. You get shut down and what, but in these times, you want to do things the right way. So he's set up an open space. I think it's a parking lot, and then a lot of different booths, and you'll like get your ticket, go to your table, and like you can eat, like chill, drink there, and then there will be like an opener that I think is live, like in Denver, maybe on like a balcony that will play, sort of like a silent disco type of deal. But then the interesting part is he is working with a really well-known local artist that does these like massive sort of. It's definitely this type of thing that you would see at Shambhala if he hasn't already done that type of stuff, like big installations. And he's got in the building an exhibit, and then after like an hour after the first person plays, then you're like escorted for like a walkthrough. So you don't not just sitting in one spot kind of like all night, like staring at your friend.
Right, that's cool.
Other,
Yeah.
right? So you get to go out, go do this thing, experience that, walk through it, come back, and then on the music side they'll have like a not a headliner DJ, but like a more like a larger artist that's maybe well known that will stream their set in as part of it. I don't know if it's probably pre-recorded at that point because it's just a little bit less to worry about. But at least it's still it's like me in the garage or whatever with production, and then you get to like rave out, and so there's like levels to it, and it seems to be working really well for them so far.
Good for them, honestly. Like that would be so lovely to go to an event like that.
Yeah. Like,
I would love it. And that's like, it's just smart. It's like they thought about like, what do people need when they're at an event? You want to like, change scenery, change the vibe, switch it up in different ways. Like that's what was so great about like nightlife pre-COVID was you get to have like a dynamic
kind
of moods and settings within it.
Yeah, I think in the first 2 weeks they did like 17K in ticket sales. So I mean, it's like okay, there's a need. People need to, we all want to be part of the culture again and the music and experience art, right? So, but I'm gonna catch up on the chat here real quick because I have not been paying attention. What's up, everyone? We're here hanging out with my friend Claire Mortifee. And do you have the new one? You said you're about to drop some new tunes. I'll have to throw your links. Can you want to paste it in the text or in the chat on the Zoom?
100%.
Go give Claire a follow. We're gonna get to some of those demos real shortly. Hope everyone's doing well this week. If you're on the West Coast in California, anything like that, hope you're staying away from the fires. It's been kind of crazy. You probably saw the photos, but like with like the ash sort of raining down.
Madness.
I'll be getting a question from Dash here. When along your musical journey did you think what you were making? When along your musical journey did you think what you were making was good? Like when did you stop hating it, or if you ever didn't like it?
This is a question from the chat?
Yeah, from the chats.
Okay. Yeesh. I mean, gosh. That's a great question. I don't know. Like, I think there's a part of me that always vibed with my music, to be honest. And just because, like, it, as I was writing it, I chose to write it. I don't quite know how to explain it. Kind of like there's different ideas that might come through my brain, and the ones that I ended up writing were catchy enough that I liked them enough that I wanted to experience them as a song, so I created the song. So I think in that regard, I've always liked my music. In terms of like I think my confidence with it grows, and I think I have a different relationship with each song, and it's almost like they're not, I don't really take ownership of them because like I didn't choose to think of them. They just appeared in my brain, or they appeared on the microphone as I was freestyling.
Right.
I'm not the type of person who really like dissects my music and rewrites it. I kind of just like
I love it.
Let it be there. So
you're the vessel.
Yeah.
Through which the art flows.
Exactly. I'm a parent. They're the babies, so they're doing their own thing. Yeah.
Oh, this is why I miss you. This is why I miss you so much. This only you could give an answer like that. It's so. Oh man, so much wisdom coming out of you.
Oh shucks.
I'm gonna clip that.
Thank you, my friend.
So, did you? Yeah. So I guess Dash had a follow up. He's like, what sort of helped you get on your journey there quicker? I mean, I guess let's go back, turn back the clock a little bit to your first full length.
Mhm.
So you were probably picking and choosing with stuff on medicines, right? I imagine that was you'd been writing that for a while because it's the first one. Usually
Yeah.
takes a while. Did you? What was that process like? I mean, did you conceptualize the whole thing first? Or did you have a bunch of demos first, or can you remember that process a little bit?
Yeah, the first album, there wasn't even that many extra demos. I think we only cut one, two of them, two of the songs. Um, One was called Martyrs. It was produced by Pigeonhole, which is a duo out of Sweatshop Union.
Mm-hmm.
They're part of Sweatshop, who I used to, kick it with.
Mm-hmm.
And then one's called Past Paragons, produced by Astrological, which
Mm-hmm.
I actually released on my Bandcamp the other day.
Oh,
And that was going to be the title track actually off Medicines. I was going to name the album Past Paragons originally. Um,
you cut the title track, the original
yeah.
title track off
Yeah.
the record.
Yeah.
Can
And
you
I think
talk about that?
Sorry, go ahead.
Why can you talk about that? I mean, did you just change
Yeah.
your mind one day and you're like, nah?
I think what happened was I had like this new manager and he was more seasoned, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He'd had lots of artists before and he was like, let's send out, these tracks to a group of people and get them to pick their favorites. And yeah, Martyrs and Past Paragons weren't on the tops of the lists.
Right.
So we kind of did it like that, where it's like, yes, I like the music because for me it feels authentic and it's a vibe and I have a relationship with it as my little baby, but like,
Sure.
do people vibe with it as much? Yes or no? And yeah, so we just kind of figured that those weren't hitting people
Right.
in the same.
So that is interesting, like that push and pull with yourself and people around you that are giving feedback on your music, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's manager, agent, or just people who also are in music, or and that takes guts, I think, to do either. Sometimes you bet on your gut, and because if you don't, I've been there where and that was probably the darkest place I've been musically. It happened maybe over a year ago. Yeah, almost 2 years ago now. And I with the Corazon record, I was questioning because people around me were like just not. My team was kind of not into elements of it or whatever, and I was like, okay, maybe I've just been wrong, because I was like, I like it, and usually I don't love my stuff, and I was like, I get what I'm doing here, like I like it, and then a switch flipped, and I was like, am I just wrong? Like, what am I? And if that's the case, then what am I even doing? Because how can I write? How can you make music if you don't trust? Like, if you don't, like, if you're like, I like this, but it sucks, and everyone else says it's like not the one or something, right? Because then what do you even do then?
Mm-hmm.
You might as well just go and do something else.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard because everyone experiences music differently.
Right.
And so everyone's experience of it is valid,
Right.
And yeah, but like if if you love something or it feels authentic to you, then like I think that's enough. I mean, that might be simplistic, but that's my take on it.
I think it's good to
What was
have.
that like for you, like in that era? Like, how did you move forward with that?
So we moved forward with the record. Corazon came out. I didn't make any changes.
Great record.
Thank you. I look back on it being like, no, I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't wrong. Commercially, you can say this or that, but I'm like, no, me. Like, I mean, I had a vision like with the story and the animation as well, which was sort of integral. But I'm like, I stand by these records that I made. Could they have been poppier or more commercial or something like that? I mean, you can always analyze it, but I knew what it was. Later Fuse. I know you've got to bounce it real quick too, but yeah. So I look back and I'm like, no, I still like. I think I'll look back in 5-10 years and hopefully past that and be like, no, I mean, I'm still into it. There are records and I'm like, oh, like even sometimes records that do better, and you're not sure about maybe, and I'm still like, I mean, I guess it's okay, and that's fine. People won't if they want to experience your art or your music and be like, this is cool, then I'm not going to like rain on your parade because that doesn't help either of us. But it's important, I think, to understand who you are as an artist. And sometimes when it just comes down to it, you got to go with your gut on that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But,
Good for you. Good for you. And it's so true. It's so true. And it's like, I don't think that like poppiness or commercial ability to break through commercially is what defines good music.
right.
So
There's that
I'm
as
glad
well.
that you just let that exist, let that body of work exist.
Thank
so
you.
it could come out and serve us all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know you just let me know that you've got a meeting in a couple minutes, so we might have to cut this.
I'm so sorry that
No
that
worries.
you know that.
We
No.
I
Let me see if I can push it back a touch.
it's okay if it's able. If not, we can get into. Maybe we'll pick one of these demos at random, quick. If you're your meeting's in like 2 minutes. So I'm not sure that that's actually the best call here, but you know what's funny too is sometimes you get like a little bit of the validation. Like we got like MAC Cosmetics, whatever you want to say about them. They used Know Me for a
I saw that.
like a lipstick national lipstick campaign, and I was like, obviously I was geeked about that. That's the biggest sync I've been a part of, but it's also just like a little bit of validation. It's like, yeah, I knew the song didn't suck. Like, fuck all y'all who didn't believe in
Right?
this.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, sometimes
Exactly.
you get those, and it's like, okay,
That's the thing.
you're like,
right?
I'm not
That's-
insane,
Yeah.
but
Good. I'm so glad that, I mean, that's like so perfect that sync came through for like that specific song that other people had been like
maybe it did.
poo-pooing, and then you're like, yeah, what now? What now?
life doesn't always work that way. So sometimes you just got to cherish those moments where you're like, but it just reminds you, like, okay, like now I think I'm in a place where I'm like, cool. I know that my opinion is valid about records, especially my records, and if it's working for me, then that means something. It doesn't mean you can't pick it apart and make it better. And that's sort of what we do with the demos is like, really it's just about building and like improving. Like how can we make this a better record? It's all like, it is opinions, a lot of it, but then sometimes there's more technical things like whatever mixing or like, your arrangement is 3 minutes too long or something. If you want it to live in like this world, maybe it should be under 6 minutes or something.
Yeah,
Right?
and I think there's so much to say for that. And like I was speaking with like an A&R person earlier this year, and that was something that they were saying. They were like, you could go back and like edit your stuff more. And as I was saying, it's like a lot of time I'll just write and let whatever I write exist. And I think that was something I really appreciated about
Right.
working with Miami Horror, was that they were very like articulate and would go back and look over every piece of what the composition was and what the song was and take time with it. And I think like I can't wait until I get into a space where I'm doing that. And
Right.
I think having different opinions who I really trust around to really dissect in that way is going to be a very rewarding process. And I'm open to when that blossoms more for me. So I think there's a lot to be said for that too.
That's really cool to hear. I imagine I've only met Ben a couple times, but the music has always kind of struck me as fairly meticulous. Like it's not accident stuff. You know what I mean? Just like write it like that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
I like hearing about the science of like sometimes it's okay for the chat. Like we see it on Twitch, and this is. Did you hear back about your meeting? Do you got to bounce? I'll let you go.
Yeah, my manager just said that she's going to email our lawyer. So we're gonna, it's a little team meeting.
You got a little time.
We're all quite busy today, so
Okay.
we'll be able to push back by a couple minutes.
I won't keep
I
you.
should probably get off soon.
Yeah, no, just to finish that thought off. So I guess, there's a lot of producers that have been really doing their whole live process on Twitch or IG Live or whatever, and you can see people work really quickly. Mm-hmm. The format also, I find it lends itself to like writing really quick, but that and maybe takes you away from working on a 4-bar, 8-bar loop for a couple of hours. But sometimes that is important to get that hook, that bridge, those lyrics just sounding right, the right inflection or the rhythm of your delivery or
Or
that
the
bass
right
sound.
lyric, like, like a super catchy, like standout lyric or idea
Yes.
in that way.
Yeah. Sometimes it's important to take that extra time, and it's okay that you can sit on it for, hours, days, weeks, and be like, to find that, to make it perfect for you and make it the best song it can be.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think there's a lot to be said to that. Yeah.
Claire, it's been a lovely, too short time. I'm not going to
Yes.
keep you from your team any longer.
Thank you. They'll appreciate that.
Thanks for coming on, and hope.
Thank you for having me. It's been really fun to kick it, and yeah, just great to connect. And I'll see you when I get back to LA. I'll hit you up for sure.
Yeah, you have to come by, and we'll have a little barbecue. We'll and maybe we'll have to have you back on so that you can go through some of these demos, because that's definitely a fun part of it. I will continue with the demos for you guys, all in the chat. Can I post
Cool.
your link? It's Clear Mortifee on all like platforms? I will post it in the
Yes,
chat.
it is. Yeah, I just sent you a Spotify link in the Zoom chat.
Zoom chat. Okay.
My email, or excuse me, my website is just www.clearmortifee.com.
Yes.
And that has links to everything on there too.
Let me load this up. There it is. Wait. That's the Spotify. Go follow her. IG. Everywhere else. Claire, I won't keep you anymore. Love you. Thank you so much for hanging out. And we'll see you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.